This is my pass for the world's biggest technology trade show. This is the world's biggest technology trade show. And this is the best technology at the show. Welcome to Click. I'm Spencer Kelly. You know, the technology industry doesn't have a bad start to the new year, really. While everyone else is struggling back to work after the holidays, tech execs from around the world are clambering aboard planes and heading here to Las Vegas for a spot of gambling. Now, they're not gambling their hard-earned wages, although I wouldn't put it past them. They're gambling that their brand new products will catch the world's attention at the massive Consumer Electronics Show. This week, we'll check out some new ideas around smarter TVs, future uses for your tablet, and a brand new window on the world. We'll also pick out the tech that's raised our eyebrows for 2012, and we discover a new way to round up all that important news in Webscape. It's quite a view, isn't it? That is the Nevada desert, and here is part of the world-famous Las Vegas skyline. You've got the Stratosphere Hotel in the distance. This is the Las Vegas Hilton where Elvis performed, and here is the Las Vegas Convention Center. And it is in these massive halls that 2012 is starting to take shape. The big players are making their big announcements and releasing their big products, and at the same time, the smaller outfits are showcasing innovations which may just change the world in the coming months. Around 20,000 products were announced during the four-day show at press conferences.
The new Series 9 weighs only 2.5 pounds.
The engineers over at ASUS did a fabulous job with this design.
And with all the fanfare befitting Sin City. On show this year, personalised tech for every part of our life, from the morning drive to the daily chores and the evening meal. One of the most eye-catching features of these shows is the sheer number of TV screens which blaze at you from every direction. Competition is fierce. Samsung claimed to have the world's biggest OLED screen, measuring 55 inches across. But LG saw that and raised it by making theirs 3D. And they were both so thin you could shave with them. Both companies were also showing off ultra-high resolution screens with 4 times as many pixels as normal high def. LG's, of course, was 3D. And if you're worried that TV tech is advancing so fast that your new set will be out of date by next week, why not try this Samsung TV, which comes with an upgrade slot. Just switch out yesterday's innards for tomorrow's shiny new processor. But the star of the show was the connected TV, a screen which plugs into the net, allowing you to stream videos and download apps in the same way as you might on a tablet or a smartphone. There are an awful lot of people making an awful lot of noise about their internet-connected TVs here at CES. So the question is, will 2012 be the year of connected TVs? There are a lot of them being sold, but apparently not many of them are being connected to the internet at the moment. Let's try and find out why. Now, Lisa Montgomery is the editor of Electronic House, and you watch an awful lot of TV.
Oh, sure, I do.
What's the problem in your opinion?
I think it might be because right now people are trying to differentiate themselves in the marketplace. So the more apps they have, the more different they become from their competitors. And so we've got companies that are offering more than 1,000 apps on their TV.
And that can look a bit of a mess, can't it?
Yeah, and hard to manage. And so as it becomes hard to manage, it's more complicated and people just say, forget it. So I think right now we're seeing a trend towards making all that content easier to find, navigate, control, and enjoy.
So what kind of exciting interfaces have you seen so far this year?
Well, we're moving away from the hard button remotes where you're looking down at the buttons and then up at the TV screen to see what's available, to tablets that almost serve like a mini TV screen. So what you're seeing on that tablet is the same thing as being shown on the big screen. So you get that more interactive feel with your
TV. And the tablet can be a touchscreen controller for the TV.
Exactly. And the big news, though, is manufacturers are incorporating gesture control, like the game players like Wii, facial recognition, and voice control as a way to navigate through the content.
So you can go directly to your chosen service just by speaking to the TV.
You could, yes, or it could recognize your face and bring only those apps up that are relevant to you.
What do you make of the actual content that you get through these apps? Is that good enough?
Well, I think they're becoming more and more diversified, right? Social media is always going to be a hot button, but now we're seeing apps that sort of make the TV a helper to you. If you're an avid sports fan, there's an app, one of the Dish actually is offering it, where it monitors in the background. You might not even be watching this sporting event, but it monitors the noise level of a sporting event, and if it gets crazy, the TV will alert you and tell you what channel to tune to, because
there might be something exciting going on.
Yeah, might be something good to watch.
There are rumours that Apple is going to make its own connected television set. What do you make of those rumours?
It really wouldn't surprise me. They're the king of interfaces, really. They've introduced millions of people to iTunes and that easy way to stream music, and now it's all about all kinds of different content. They know how to do it well, and so it wouldn't surprise me if they came out with something.
But this show has more to offer than just connected TVs, more in fact than any one person could hope to see. Exploring all 1.8 million square feet would take even longer than it will take for my body to digest our Las Vegas breakfasts. And then to the tablets. Big ones, small ones, some with keyboards, and some sporting the new Android operating system called Ice Cream Sandwich. Oof, back to that breakfast again.
So what will the portable computer of 2012 look like? With me is Rudy Alhofer, who is an IT market analyst. Rudy, hi. We're starting to see some serious contenders that are smaller than the traditional large screen tablet, 7-8-inch screens. For example, the Kindle Fire. Do you think that size tablet is going to catch on?
Both form factors are needed. We have a huge variety of content. People have access nearly everywhere to online content, to the cloud. So they need smaller devices for maybe traveling. They need a bit larger one for watching some kind of clips or whatever they download from the web. And therefore, small as well as mid or large screen sizes are needed for the market.
And one of the trends with laptops now seems to be the introduction of touchscreen. I guess that's following on from the tablet to the laptop. Touchscreen on laptops, interesting?
Yes, touchscreen is the big trend coming from the smartphone side. Touchscreen is making tablets so interesting, and tomorrow every netbook, every notebook, from our understanding, will have at least limited touchscreen functions.
And there's also a lot of talk about these ultrabooks that we've been hearing about, a new type of laptop. Can you just remind us, what features are we seeing in ultrabooks? What is making them a class in their own?
Ultrabooks is more or less a synonym for a new cool design. Long battery lifetime, very thin, instant on. They are much more convenient, and therefore it's the right time for them. Consumers are looking for products which are offering an ease of use.
Also packing a big punch are the phones of 2012, starting with this one, a prototype from Fujitsu packing a quad-core processor with a 13-megapixel camera and 4G capability. We expect to see more of this baby next month. As well as firsts, there was also a last. It's goodbye to Microsoft, which has decided not to attend the show from now on.
It highlights the history of Microsoft and CES together.
Still, at least CEO Steve Ballmer got a souvenir.
Thanks for a great partnership. I'm excited to have the opportunity to be here tonight. Let's go get started.
Let's do it.
And although we did get to see a bit more of its new operating system, Windows 8, it was confined to a small desk on the show floor, out of reach of inquisitive fingers.
Well, Microsoft didn't mention it, but we're going to anyway, and we found someone else who's willing to talk about Windows 8. This is Jay Green, a senior writer from CNET. So Windows 8 isn't here, but it is expected later this year. Why do you think we're not seeing more prototypes at least?
Well, you know, I think Microsoft really thinks that the noise of CES is so loud, the volume from all the other companies doing things here just will overwhelm the message. And I think they also want to control their event. So when Windows 8 comes out, they want that message to be theirs. They don't want to have to compete with everyone else. They don't want to have to do it on someone else's stage.
Hence, they're not going to be here next year?
That's right. I mean, Microsoft has said that this is its last CES, and that's the reason. They want to control these events.
So, is there a possibility when we do see Windows 8 that it will be this merge, not just between tablets and PC operating system, but also the Windows Phone operating system? Windows Phone 7, Windows 7, both become Windows 8.
That could happen a ways down the road. That's not going to happen with Windows 8. But Windows 8 will have a lot of the things that Windows Phone users are familiar with. So the interface, it's going to be a touch interface. It's going to use what's called the Metro style, which is a tile-based interface. And so for consumers, it'll have a lot of that familiarity.
And do you think it will put Microsoft back in the game when it comes to portable computing with tablets?
Well, I mean, that's the big bet. And, you know, Microsoft is going to be in the game with that. It's a real open question as to how much, because certainly people love their iPads. Here in the US, folks are jumping on the Kindle Fire from Amazon. Microsoft's late, and it's going to be 3 years late almost by the time that Windows 8 comes out for tablets. So that's going to be a tough fight for them.
But it does give users some advantages, doesn't it? It means that they can carry their laptop and desktop applications through to a tablet experience, and that you can't run Microsoft products on Android or on iPad.
Well, I think that's true. I think the one challenge with that, though, is that there's so many Windows applications out there that are written not for a touch-based device. So, you know, right now, it's hard to imagine how you would use, say, an Excel spreadsheet in a touch-based environment. It just doesn't seem to make sense.
Okay, let's look ahead to a couple of other big trends for 2012 that you've identified for us. Take us through the big things we should be watching out for in the next 12 months.
So one of the things I think about, and it kind of gets to some of the conversations we were just having, is cloud-based computing. And so that's industry jargon, but it's essentially storing stuff out on the internet. And so
that's not new per se, is it?
It's not new, but what's interesting is you get these tablet devices that are always connected. As you get your phone that's always connected, you're going to want to have access to all those photos you took of your kids on vacation. That's all going to get stored up on the cloud, and there are going to be all sorts of devices that can really use it. And what's really interesting to see in the industry right now are the behemoths are really fighting one another for this space. So you have Apple, you have Google, and you have Microsoft really pushing hard, really butting heads to try and win that area.
CES is always big, bright, colourful and pretty noisy. And as we said, it is almost impossible to see everything on show. But here's just a few of the really cool innovations that the team here at CES have come across.
Microsoft's Kinect motion sensing controller is breaking away from its gaming roots. Ever since its launch, enterprising types have found ways to plug the Kinect, originally designed for use with the Xbox video games console, into PCs, finding new applications for its 2 cameras and its ability to measure distance. Well, now the software giant from Seattle has launched its own official development kit for PC and Kinect. Microsoft Research in Cambridge have developed this. It's called Kinect Fusion, and it turns the whole idea of the device on its head. Instead of moving around in front of Kinect to control a video game, you actually move the controller to measure and record objects in 3-dimensional space, essentially turning it into a 3D scanner. So if I show you with these objects on this table here, I just point the Kinect at them and slowly paint in like this, and it creates a full 3D model of all of the objects on the table. Now, as long as an object stays still, it's possible to scan it. So we're going to scan me right now. Take it away. As the device is moved around me, it generates more data, building up a more accurate 3D model. And in just a few seconds, a full 3D model of myself appears on the screen. What a handsome chap.
Picture the scene. You have a recipe on your tablet, you're in the kitchen following the recipe, and then you accidentally spill your accompanying glass of wine all over the screen. And suddenly it's not just your eggs that are fried. Well, here's the solution apparently. It's a tablet that's been made especially for cooks. It's called Cook, Q-O-O-Q. And as you can see, the operating system has been written especially for this tablet, because that's what I think the world needs, is yet another tablet operating system. But seriously, you have access to a number of standard features down the right, the weather, your social networking, there's a video player there, a stopwatch there, so you can actually watch videos or listen to your music on here by side-loading them. There's a number of standard ports there, an SD card slot for example. But as you can see, most of the screen is given over to cooking. You can download recipes and search on different types of food. You can select the recipe that you want, and this thing will send that shopping list to your smartphone. So let's cook something. You can, the tandoori shrimp in the masala sauce, why not? You can watch the preparation by clicking on the button there, and you can follow it either in pictures or in text here. And if, for example, you already know how to do step 4 or 5, then you can just touch this and the video will skip to the next step, which is chopping the onions, which is the bit I always have problems with. So, guess which country this tablet made for cooking comes from? Correct, France.
You're in the living room, you want to watch the football, the other half wants to get lost in a period drama. What do? Probably have a blazing row about it. Well, not if you have a dual view TV, you don't. As you can see, it's displaying both images at the same time. It looks a bit of an unholy mess, if I'm honest with you, until, that is, you put on some active shutter specs. And these specs synchronize with one or other of the images with the press of a button, so you can watch your football highlights while the other half can weep into her hanky. Now, in terms of sound, there's a couple of speakers on the arms of the glasses to take care of that. I have to say, it does sound a little bit tinny, but the real question I have is, do you want to be wearing a pair of specs while you're watching the box? I'm sure I've asked that question before.
Want to hear a secret? I've got really small ears. Now, generally that doesn't cause me a problem, apart from when I'm trying to wear in-the-ear headphones. My ear canals are so small they don't fit and they keep falling out. Now, one solution to that would be custom molded in-ear headphones that are molded to the shape of my ear canal, but those are generally quite expensive and you need a specialist to do them. Well, meet Ears. This is a do-it-yourself in-ear headphone molding kit. So you take it home, you stick it on, and inside each of these babies is a little bottle of silicone. And when you flick this switch, a balloon attached to each of these pumps starts to inflate with silicone. It will take about 5 minutes to set, and once it has hardened, I will have 2 earbuds that are made specifically for my ear canal shape. Now, I'm not allowed to talk during this 5 minutes, so I'm going to bring in Jocelyn, who will explain the procedure for you. Here we go.
Okay, Spencer, you're actually going to start to feel the silicone flow into your ear and start flowing into the plug, expanding that balloon, and any of the excess flows out. You're now starting to experience all of the sound, all of the noise in the room to disappear, and you're starting to get into your quiet Zen zone.
Ooh.
Once they're molded, it will never change shape again.
There's my ears. Hello, ears. And that is what the inside of my ear holes look like. And the theory is I should now have a pair of earphones which are so tightly molded to the inside of my ear that they provide complete sound isolation because there's no gap around. And also, the sound reproduction should be, and indeed is, quite good. Oh, Adele, again, what a surprise.
Some devices have more noble aspirations than others. This is the OLPC X03. It's been designed by the One Laptop Per Child initiative, a project designed to bring low-cost computing to developing countries. The X03 uses an updated and touch-adapted version of the operating system which featured in the original One Laptop Per Child computer. It's been designed to be simple and intuitive. In many cases, this will be the first piece of technology that a lot of the children that are using it have ever seen. One of the hallmarks of One Laptop Per Child is a consideration for power. In countries where electricity isn't in abundance, you might be able to use this prototype solar cell, which is fitted inside a sleeve which fits around the tablet. Or if all else fails, then you could just reach for the trusty hand crank. 1 minute's worth of cranking results in about 10 minutes worth of juice in the tablet. Now that might seem a bit labour intensive, but it's a technological lifeline for those that otherwise might not have anything at all.
Now, back in the day, before the web arrived and turned everything on its head, we used to get our news and information in these bulky, flimsy old devices. But as these things continue to become yesterday's news, the number and range of stories that we need to sift through online continues to explode. Well, Kate Russell has a tool to help us all do exactly that right now in Webscape.
Catching up with your social networks is much more than a lunch hour distraction these days, unless you use Sumify to help filter out the noise. Connect with your Twitter, Facebook and Google accounts, and you can set the app to compile an update between 1 and 4 times a day, applying certain content filters if you want. Sharing through Facebook and Twitter can be automated, but be careful you don't upset your followers with excessive spam.
I have never dreamed it. Have you ever dreamed a night like this?
Sumify looks at what your friends are sharing and also keeps a note of what you choose to read, so that it can make assumptions about the kind of content you'll enjoy. Then it packages it all up in a neat little website that is easy on the mouse pointer as well as the eye. The ranking process isn't as sophisticated as NewsWhip, a site we looked at a few weeks back, but for a neat little lunchtime digest of what your friends are currently talking about, this is a friendly and flexible service that shouldn't be overlooked.
Dreamed a night like this.
If you've ever sneaked a peek at your Facebook page while you're supposed to be working, here's a social site with a novel focus, connecting and building relationships with your co-workers. And they want you to use it with the blessing of your boss. As well as helping you find colleagues to have lunch with, or maybe even set up a carpool, there's the usual swathe of badges and rewards, which your company is encouraged to personalise to recognise your achievements in the workplace. Now, I like the idea of this website, I really do, but let's step back from the marketing blurb for a second and really think about this. Is any employer ever going to encourage you to use a social network whilst you're at work? I mean, it's bad enough with clandestine Facebook status updates and surreptitious instant messenger chats without adding a company-approved time waster to the list as well. That said, if you do have the world's most enlightened boss, maybe it's worth showing them this site. It certainly can't hurt to have a place to connect better with your colleagues, especially if you work in a company with hundreds of employees.
Down a tunnel.
We do so much more text inputting on our smartphones now than just sending the odd text message. Email, blogging, updating social networks, they all require rapid key tapping and deliver equal amounts of frustration if you make a mistake. So why not make your life a little easier with Adaptxt?
Into the shape of the shape of things to come.
It's based on a predictive text model that makes intelligent guesses about what you're trying to write. The developers have worked really hard to get their software to understand language use and context, and for me, the accuracy really shows in the results. This free app also learns how you write as you use it, to make the results even more accurate and personalised. Once installed, you can download language and grammar add-ons with an impressive catalogue of 40+ languages catered for. It's a must for people with clumsy fingers all over the world.
Kate Russell. And that is it from the Las Vegas Convention Center for this week, but we are back in Vegas with more tech from CES next week. In the meantime, you can watch this program again through the BBC iPlayer. Click the link at our website, bbc.co.uk/click, and get in touch at the usual addresses. Click at bbc.co.uk on email and at bbcclick on Twitter. Thanks very much for watching, and we'll see you next time.